What's going on, everyone? PGA Championship 2025, the second major of the season, has finally arrived. We got a late night final bet show for you as we'll both go through our final cards for this PGA Championship. If you're joining us right off the rip, make sure to hop over to YouTube. Let us know in the comment section who you're tailing, who you're fading, your props, first round leaders, all that good stuff at Quail Hollow this week. Make sure as well to go and subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube. We greatly appreciate your support, and that's the best way that you can do so. I'm Jack Bushman, here with my partner in crime, Joey Ricotta. You can find him on X at Joey Knows Nothing. Check me out at Jack Bushman2. It's major championship season, Joey. Not much more left to say. This is the reason that we do it, my friend. How we feeling coming into Quail Hollow?
Great. I'm feeling great. Not necessarily great with who I have locked in, which is a good thing in my eyes, because I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel good about my process. And the fact that I'm a little uneasy with who I'm betting makes me feel that much better, because for whatever reason, I think when I do feel a little bit uneasy, I feel like I've been doing pretty good. And dude, honestly, man, I'm still a little bit heartbroken though with the way things ended last week for myself. With Shane Lowry. So I need to get over that hump, dude. Like I need it. I need it like I need air this week. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. We need an outright over here, my friend. Big time.
I know. I was as much as it enjoyed me to watch my boy Sepp Straka, Big Titty Sepp, my guy. I'm 2 for 2 on him this year. Bet him at the American Express. He cashed there. Bet him last week. It was tough to watch Shane do usual Shane things on Sunday, knowing you got a ticket on him. But I know your process. You're right there. And you said you feel good about things coming into this week's PGA Championship. You're not far off. And I know that can be frustrating. Trust me, as someone who had like 7 runner-up finishes in like a 8-month stretch last year. It's darkest just before the dawn. And I've been fortunate to break out in a big way early here in 2025. Sepp last week was my 5th outright already of the season. So some extra money for me going into the PGA Championship. Some extra money for me is I told you off air I'll be heading to Scottsdale this weekend for a bachelor party. So definitely going to be enjoying myself, sitting back and hopefully making more money, cash another ticket, maybe together this time in the process. But before we go through the odds board, Joey, you want me to talk about kind of everything I've heard about Quail Hollow up to this point? Because obviously we've gotten some weather. It is a regular PGA Tour event, so we're pretty familiar with it. But I do think it's going to play a little bit differently just because it's been beefed up as a major venue. Want me to run through it here real quick before we jump into the odds board?
It seems like there's been some minor tweaks here this time around. So I would love to hear what your perspective is on everything and what you found out, and see if any of those changes come into play this week. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you're betting on the PGA Tour weekly, you're relatively familiar with Quail Hollow. Hosted the Wells Fargo Championship, didn't host the Truist this year, obviously, because it's hosting the PGA Championship. But it's a long and brutal golf course, one of the most demanding tee to green tests on the PGA Tour. And as I mentioned, it's only been beefed up extra as a major championship host. It's now over 7,600 yards this year, Joey. It's going to play 68 yards longer than it did last year for the Wells Fargo. It was already a driver-heavy golf course, so I really don't think that's going to impact the strategy all that much and how players are going to go about things. They're going to be ripping driver on most holes here just because of its sheer length, but it is worth noting that it's even longer than it usually is and is the 3rd longest course featured on the PGA Tour this season. You get tree line fairways, as well as it's currently listed at 2.75 inches of rough, but that's expected to be grown up to about 3.5, 4 inches come the weekend time, unless something crazy goes down in the first round tomorrow, which I don't think it will be. The expectation is that they're not going to be trimming that fairway rough throughout the week, so they're just going to let it grow. And with the sheer amount of rain that the Charlotte area has gotten the last 2 days, that grass is going to be growing. So might be listed at 2.75 inches on the score sheet, but it's going to be much longer than that, which is obviously going to make it more crucial to A, play from the fairway, and B, have that extra driving distance. I really think total driving is going to be a very key metric this week, Joey. Guys who can hit it long and straight are going to have a massive advantage. And as well as the sheer length, you see that in the par fours and the par fives on this course. Out of the 11 par fours, 8 of them up over 450 yards. You're going to be hitting a lot of long irons in. The par fives aren't a cakewalk either. And outside of the 3 par fives and there's 2 drivable par fours, you really got to buck up for the rest of this golf course. It's a true test. You're not going to be hitting every single green because they're going to be so firm. Listed at 13.5 on the stimp meter. I know there's been a lot of rain, as I just talked about, but the greens with their sub-air system, Joey, we talked about this before recording too. It sounds like the sub-air system has done a really good job of making those greens still pretty firm despite all of that rain. So I'd expect Friday, it'll probably be a little wetter than usual for that opening round tomorrow, but come the weekend time, these are going to be major championship greens that are rolling firm and fast, which again is going to favor guys who can play well with their long irons. If you are a solid long iron player, that's going to give you advantage because it's going to be so hard to hold the greens. And also it's going to favor players with driving distance because it's going to cut down on some of the yardage that you have into those par fours. The shorter of club you hit in, the more likely you are to hold the green. So altogether, Joey, no real surprise. I mean, when we break down PGA championships and US Opens on this show, with the modern day setup, they just play into the hands of guys with plus driving distance. So I'm going to be looking at bombers this week for sure. Guys who are strong with their long irons, and don't get it twisted. You still need the full package around here because like I mentioned, you're not going to play 72 holes of clean golf, hitting every single fairway, every single green. You got to have a good short game, and you're going to have to make some clutch putts from time to time. So it's going to take the full package to win at Quail Hollow. But not really all that different of a setup from what we've seen the last couple outside of Valhalla. I mean, that was a cakewalk last year when Xander Schauffele reached 21 under, but typical PGA championship like we saw at Oak Hill a couple of years ago, like we usually see with US Opens, super demanding tee to green test. You got to have the full package. And I think that's why the odds at the top of the board, as we'll get into here in just a second, are so short for a couple of guys in particular, because this place seems to play right into their hands.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had a little bit of a trouble here building my model, and like we did talk beforehand, obviously I wanted to put more of the emphasis, like you said, on the bombers, the driving distance guys, and long irons as well too. Certain yardage buckets, the proximity from 175 to 225, I thought was where I kind of wanted to look at. There's even the par fours that are over 500 yards. So yeah. Those are going to be unreal too. So I wanted to put emphasis on those, but I was having a little bit of difficulty kind of deciding, or I guess, wondering what to do with the greens because, they're a little bit, they're fast and firm, but, with the rain, I wasn't sure. And it sounds like you've got a pretty good read on it, and they're, how they're drying this thing out. So I went ahead and put that back in my model, and it did change some things here just before we hop back on. So to add that into the Bermuda putting. So kind of curious how this is all going to play out, but my difficulty putting the model together this week was, I know I need guys that are well-rounded, but also wanted to put the emphasis mostly on the distance guys. So how much do I put on all of the well-roundedness, because inevitably I'm going to be leaving some stuff out, and that's exactly what happened. But like you said, man, the guys that are favorites on the board this week are favorites for a reason, because they are the most likely to be there at the end. They're the most likely to win, and it's just a matter of, do you want to bite that bullet and how much money you want to throw on them, I think.
And I think you're kind of the conversation you were just outlining that you were having with yourself regarding your model. What popped into my mind while you were saying all of that is, I don't think either of those ways to go about your thought process is wrong. I would say the well-rounded players, those are the guys who are going to win. If you have a bomber skill set and putting upside and maybe can hit your long irons, If you just have like those types of parts, I think you can contend on this type of golf course. I think you can be one of those guys who just like pops up and finishes, T6 or T9. You're like, hey, holy shit, that guy finished T9. But in terms of the guys who are actually going to win this thing, I think it's the complete package. So kind of like the two different conversations you can have in golf betting between, outrights and DFS. Like there are some guys who rank high in my model just getting here right now, not to spoil things, but like a guy like Daniel Berger, number 5 in my model. I don't think he has the driving distance or like the full package right now to go and win this thing, but I think Daniel Berger can go and finish T7. So you kind of got to like parse through your models and some of the data depending on which way you're going to bet on things, whether you're going through the outright markets or top tens. You got to be having those conversations with yourself. So that's definitely just one thing I wanted to point out is you were kind of bringing that up. And before we get into the odds board as well, something I wanted to mention too, you brought up putting with fast greens. You put that into your model. One thing I put in my model as well involving the green complexes this week is approach putt performance, which we have at rickrungood.com, me and Joey. That's the database that we use. Approach putt performance is the average distance to the hole after the first putt. Basically a similar stat to 3-putt avoidance. Guys who are really good lag putters for the most part. These aren't the biggest green complexes in the world, but because they're going to be so fast and so firm, you're just going to have more of those uncomfortable, 4 to 5 footers because your ball is going to roll out, or you're timid that it's going to roll out so much, you're going to leave it 4 to 5 feet short. So that is another little thing I added into my model, Joey. I only put 3 in terms of the weight on it, but something I did kind of want to look at. And the last thing I wanted to mention from my model as well, because we know how Quail Hollow is going to play, because we are so familiar with it, I think it gives us a pretty good idea of comp courses for this week as well. And I have a pretty good handful of them in my model. Torrey Pines, another golf course that plays long and has thick fairway rough, favors total drivers of the golf ball. Same as Bay Hill, where I was earlier this year and watched Russell Henley pick up a victory there. I also have Olympia Fields in my model, even though we only saw it for the BMW Championship a couple of years ago, where I was fortunate enough to be in attendance there as well. I think that's a very similar golf course, as well as Murfield Village and Riviera. I didn't put like a ton of weight into those, but I just did want to see guys who continuously pop up and play well on these types of setups, Joey.
No, I like that approach. Like I said, there were things I had to leave off. If I were to do it, there probably would have been one or two more of those courses that you mentioned that I would have included in my model this week. But because, I had to kind of minimize where I could go with the weight as far as that goes, I only stuck to because it's pretty sticky. It feels like with Quail Hollow, in terms of course history and guys doing well here and then continually doing well here. I put most of the emphasis on that, and I also included Torrey Pines as well. So I thought that maybe was, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought that was the closest course comp that I could think of. Just looking into it was Torrey Pines. So, and I didn't put a huge emphasis on that one either, but no, I like that strategy of kind of including like even Olympia Fields. That's totally like a second shot type of course too. So there's a lot of
rough, long course,
long course. Yeah.
I really do like the Torrey Pine shout. Not only is there a lot of similarities between the two courses, but we've seen similarities in the leaderboards there as well. Max Homa's won at both courses, obviously. Patrick Reed is someone who has had a lot of success, finished runner-up at the last PGA Championship here, won at Torrey Pines back in 2021. Jason Day is someone who's won on both courses. So there's a lot of crossover in the leaderboard. James Hahn, I think, randomly is even someone who's won at both of those golf courses. So
wow, didn't expect that name.
lot of rant. Yeah. So anytime you have a crossover like that, you got to figure there's some sort of similarity. So we know what style of golf course this is. We know what guys usually pop up on these leaderboards. Think it should make things a little bit easier as we parse through these odds boards. At least it kind of did for me when trying to figure out who I wanted to place a wager on this week. But anything else you wanted to bring up, Joey, before we jump on over to the odds boards here, brother?
No, man, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the stuff we came here for.
All right. Stuff we came here for. Absolutely. Let's find a winner out of all these motherfuckers. Top of the board. Top 3, Scotty Scheffler, plus 475, the Boogeyman. Might not have the Boogeyman nickname anymore this year, though, Joey, because Rory McIlroy has 3 wins already this season. I actually saw Rory McIlroy has a better win percentage than the Colorado Rockies, the
Holy shit.
man, who is it? It's the Colorado Rockies, Pittsburgh Pirates, I think. A couple, and the Chicago White Sox, I want to say. So Rory might be taking the moniker of the boogeyman here this season, and Bryson DeChambeau has been smashed down to 9-1, opened up around 14-16 this week, has been bet by basically everyone and their mother. Joey, before we go to the rest of the odds board, I think we just got to have a conversation about the big three here, right? Because rightfully so, they're getting the lion's share of attention. I talked about Rory, 3 wins already this season, obviously picked up the career Grand Slam at the Masters, and now the narrative around him is kind of like, should be super freed up. And this is obviously a golf course he's tormented in his career as well, with 4 wins, 5 other top 10s in 13 career starts. Then there's Scotty Scheffler, who in his last start is coming off of an 8-stroke victory. Yes, it was an absolute dog water field, but he put up some pretty remarkable numbers and won by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And then we got Mr. Bryson DeChambeau, who this style of golf course suits his game perfectly with the way he can drive it long and straight. Won the U.S. Open last year, runner-up to Xander Schauffele at the PGA, and played with Rory McIlroy in the final pairing at the Masters. I mean, there's so much to like about all 3 of these guys. Are you going to any of them this week, Joey? Really curious, as someone who is usually a little hesitant about the top of the board. What are you thinking about it this week, my friend?
So, I mean, I can't say enough how, like, Rory's basically Mr. Quail Hollow. Like,
yeah, literally.
Like, on top of maybe being in the best form of his entire career right at this moment. He's just insane right now. And I think anyone telling you not to, and he just won, I mean, just last year at this golf course.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyone telling you that the price is too steep is probably like, don't listen to that person. Because I think it's fine for what exactly he is right now. Like, he should be the favorite and he should be where he's at.
Yeah.
Bryson was like the one that I was like, okay, if I'm going to go down a little bit, bomber, just let it fly, let it rip. This is a perfect course, you would think, for Bryson. The only thing is, you know, now that you said that the greens probably won't be as slow as I maybe thought that they could be with the rain. You know, I don't think it's as good as I maybe initially thought because of the rain. But he'd be my favorite out of this group from a price standpoint. Obviously, Scotty, I mean, yeah, you're probably right. Like, Rory's the new boogeyman, but like you said, he's just coming off of crushing the field, no matter what the field was, his last time out. And I mean, I think him not playing here at Quail Hollow, even though he was here for a President's Cup, but he hasn't done any, you know, stroke play events here. It's enough to keep me off the price. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go with Rory. Like, that's just, I think Scotty's the one clear avoid out of this group for me. But, you know, old habits die hard, Jack. And we're avoiding the entire group.
Oh, gutsy play. But what I will say first off is, if you do skip the top of the board, there is some incredible value that you can spread around your card the rest of the way. And on the Scotty Scheffler topic, I do agree with you. Out of those 3, I probably have him ranked number 3, which is a terrifying thought, by the way. I mean, like, doubting Scotty Scheffler really isn't something I like doing, but I don't think he's not short off of the tee. He's still long enough, and he's one of the best total drivers in the game because he's so good at putting it in the right spots consistently. But I do think with the way this course sets up, it's going to play more into Rory and Bryson's hands. And also, Scotty doesn't have that experience here in a tournament setting, like you said, which to me is wild. And by the way, he played like shit at the President's Cup. I know the United States still won, but I'm pretty sure
it
he
wasn't
went
because of him, though.
I'm pretty sure he went 0-3-1 with Sam Burns that week. Did not play all that well on this course. And knowing that this was going to be the PGA Championship venue years in ahead, I really am shocked that Scotty didn't play this last year. Like, I know he had the incredible season that he did, and he also had a kid, and I'm sure he probably wanted some time to get to himself, you know. But I think that was a miss by him to not go and at least experience this course in a tournament setting as an individual. It's just enough for me to get off Scotty Scheffler at +5-1. Rory obviously treated me very kindly at the Masters. Certainly can do it again here at Quail Hollow. It's a terrifying thought. But I ultimately went to Bryson, man. I was on him at the PGA Championship last year when he was runner-up to Xander. I was on him at the U.S. Open last summer, and there's no reason to steer me off of him again on this type of setup. I've mentioned how good he is historically at these places, and his game seems to be in great form right now at the moment. I know live numbers are a little bit wonky, Joey, and you can kind of got to take them with a little bit of a grain of salt, but what Bryson's doing off the tee over on live is absolutely incredible. I mean, he's gaining like 7.5 strokes off the tee in 3 rounds, like every single event, gained 5 off of the tee at the Masters. The crank driver is working beautifully for him. Course should play right into his favor. And also one thing that I outlined in my article too, while Bryson is obviously known for just ripping it off of the tee, he's developed a really sound short game these last couple of years. That was on full display. Really the main reason why he won the US Open last summer. I mean, shoot, the bunker shot that he hit on the 72nd hole, in addition to all the trouble that he got himself out of. And one thing that I do like about Quail Hollow, here's a fun little tidbit for you, Joey. The sand that they use here at Quail Hollow, it's the same exact sand that they used at Augusta National, who at the Masters was chipping in left and right out of the bunker. It was Bryson DeChambeau. And even back at Valhalla for the PGA Championship last year, that was really when we saw his short game come to the rise. And he's got a ton of putting upside. And he does have experience on this course, albeit it's been a little while since he's been playing on live, but finished 4th here in 2018. T9 last time he was here in 2021. And just rates out really well in my model. First off the tee, first tee to green, second driving distance, 7th in bogey avoidance, 11th in around the green, like I mentioned, 32nd in putting on Bermuda as well over the last 24 rounds. T4 at the PGA Championship in 2023, runner-up last year, T4 at TPC Harding Park in 2020. Like, these courses just suit Bryson DeChambeau, and he's coming off his first win of the season last time out at Live Korea. Had some kind of shaky final rounds as he did at Augusta National, hoping that he finally got over that in his last appearance as he put it together for 3 days on Live. But just a lot of signs pointing to Bryson DeChambeau. I know that's the chalky pick of the week, as he's just been absolutely smashed down. Everyone and their mother seems to be on him, but I don't know how I can't this week. I got on him early enough and used some boost to get him up to 12-1, but even down at 9, while it's a tough pill to swallow, I still think it's decent value.
No, it's still a great bet. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit upset because I would have done it if his price, like if I would have bet early in the week, I would have done it. And I still think it's a great bet, even at 9-1 or 12-1 with a boost or whatever. Yeah, all the reasons why you mentioned, man. This is just perfect for Bryson here. So can't go wrong with that pick at all. That'd be my favorite bet out of this group for sure.
But definitely excited to see who in this next range you're going to be going to, because if you're not going to those big 3, you got to be liking at least a couple of guys, I'd figure, in this next tier. So just rattling them off on the odds checker grid. Highly recommend anyone who's tuning in, if you don't already, use the odds checker grid, have multiple sports books. It's really helpful for golf just because you got so many different guys in the field. You catch a lot of weird numbers out there from time to time. But in this second tier range, Joey, we got Jon Rahm at 18, Xander at 22, JT at 22, Morikawa at 25, Luddy F. Baby at 28, and then Joaquin Niemann at 35. We'll stop right there. Out of those 6 that I just listed, any of them catching your attention or getting your money this week?
2 of them.
All right, who we got?
Yeah, so you mentioned off air me getting on here. Wow, you kind of got a Jon Rahm look to you. The crazy hair.
Look at that.
The crazy hair, the crazy beard. I don't know. Maybe that's what I was going for, because Jon Rahm at I think I found a 20-1 number, and I got a little boost. Couldn't put a lot of money on it. I was limited to the boost, but
hate that.
Hate it. Absolutely. 27-1 was a little minor boost, but the rest of it will be going on to 20-1. But yeah, man, it's just he was second in my model this week, above Scotty. I mean, only behind Rory. So that's, Bryson was a little bit further down on the model, but like you had mentioned just a minute ago, like there's so many reasons to like Bryson. That's not even funny. That I think not everything can be going off a model, but I just really think that this is I think he's going a little overlooked. And this is the week we remember who Jon Rahm is. Doesn't have a whole lot of history here at Quail Hollow. So, I mean, that's one thing. He's only played here a couple of times, and it wasn't all that great really for him. Miscut at the 2021 Wells Fargo, 58th in the 2017 PGA Championship. But that was really before, I think, that 2017 one, before Rahm became Rahm.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, he did get his first career PGA Tour win that year, a little bit earlier at the Farmers, which, also that was a Torrey Pines, of course, where he's won twice, and it's a good course comp. So that's another reason why I really like Rahm. But he's first in strokes gained on both long and hard courses. And I take these with a little bit of a grain of salt because it's the model doesn't really factor in. I don't know. He's a live guy, right? So you kind of have to take a little bit of this with a grain of salt. But from what I'm looking at, first in strokes gained on both long and hard courses, second in strokes gained at Torrey Pines, like we just said about that course, third from the 175 to 200 yard bucket, 15th from 200 to 225 yards, second on par fours from 450 to 500 yards, which we know there's going to be some monsters in there this week. Third in bogey avoidance, which is going to be crucial this week.
Definitely.
He's got the distance, the accuracy, and the tee to green game to go with it. He's the total package guy that you look for, and just a little bit underneath the guys that are the main favorites this week, I think. So yeah, man, I really do like Rahm at 20-1. I think that's a hell of a price for a guy that really we've seen for a long time being that 10-1 and under range.
Yeah, definitely. And the driver, I mean, most of his game has been really solid this year. And I know it's on live, so him finishing top 10 every single week isn't all that impressive to some people. But the consistency that he has, and we know these long golf courses can suit Jon Rahm. 20 is definitely a fair number, 100%. And I do think it's a good buy low spot. You got to think Jon Rahm is itching to get himself back in the conversations here at major championships. And he's obviously had a ton of success at Torrey Pines. I actually think he's won the Farmers twice, and he won the US Open there. So he might even have 3 wins possibly at Torrey Pines in his career. Yeah. I know he doesn't have a lot of success at Quail Hollow, but I think that's kind of reflected in the number as well, and was T14 at the Masters. There wasn't really all that much talk about it, and I know it was kind of in backdoor fashion after a tough start, but T14 at the Masters I think is a good start to getting back in relevancy for Jon Rahm. So certainly understand you liking him up top. Who else you like in this range?
Luddy.
Oh, baby.
28-1.
Good number.
Got that little enhanced number over there at Bet Rivers. His approach and putting are not exactly where they need to be right now. But he's proven he can turn it on when the time comes. Like you look back at the Masters just a little bit ago. You looked a little bit further. I looked into with Luddy, since the model didn't really love him this week. I mean, he was way down there on mine. But he's 13th in the field from 175 to 200 yards, that bucket, and 4th from 200 to 225 yards, 8th in strokes gained on hard courses, 2nd in total driving, which we know that's going to be key this week, and he's got plenty of distance. We know that he's got way plenty of distance for this kid. I think although he hasn't played here before and we have nothing to look at for, course history, he's been pretty good on Bermuda also. So I just think this is going to be a course where he has a ton of success in, and he's the type of guy who it does not matter if he's played there or not, if he's on his game. So the upside with him, like you were saying, look at those guys with upside, a little bit of putting upside every now and then. Like Luddy's got that. So I think 28-1, if I'm going to take 2 and avoid the top, I can't think of a better name here. What are you thinking, Jack?
Yeah, I wish Ludwig was coming in with better form, but we know he can pop up at these types of venues. 7th at the Masters, and he wasn't coming in with good form, coming off of back-to-back miscuts, and was right there up until the final round. Obviously, you're just going big on the Torrey Pines guys this week, aren't you? Ludwig,
yeah, a little bit.
Winning the Genesis Invitational at Torrey Pines earlier this season as well. Off the tee with his abilities, this course should be great for him. I just worry a little bit about the rest of his game. But he does have that well-rounded ability and is just so talented that he can find himself in these situations. I was too involved up top at the betting board to really get in this range. If Ludwig showed some life last week, I was hoping he was going to stay drifting far enough where maybe I can get him. Unfortunately, at 28, I just can't fit him on my card. But I definitely don't mind it with the style of play, the way that he goes about things.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a little too close to that.
Yeah,
if you're betting the top, yeah, that doesn't make sense for you. So
I could really only fit something up over 40 after I got in at Bryson. But moving on down to this next range, though, range where I could get back in. Brooks Koepka 45-1, Tommy Fleetwood, Never Tommy 45-1, Hideki at 45, as well as Cantlay, and then we got Tyrrell Hatton at 50. Victor Hovland at 50, your boy Sugar Shane Lowry at 55, as well as Jordan Spieth at 60. We'll cut it right there from this 40 to 60 pocket, Joey. Who do you got on your mind?
Wow. So obviously, I think Lowry, there's a lot to like about his game right now. Don't quite love the distance, though, from Lowry. And on a course like this, and after the heartbreak last week, I don't think that, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Even though, again, he's a guy that my model loves, but you got to look a little bit further than that sometimes. And do I really truly think he's going to win this tournament? No. So I had to stay off there with Lowry. Brooks, I think, is like the high upside guy in this spot. That's the guy I'd probably have the most interest in. Haven't done it. But also, Spieth was kind of, I was thinking about Spieth too, but I just don't know if this is the place for Spieth either. So, yeah, I don't know. I have nobody right now in this range, Jack. What are your thoughts as you can kind of get back in here?
Yeah, super intriguing range in my opinion. Brooks, I mean, anytime you get Brooks over 40-1 on these types of setups. I mean, he's won 3 PGA championships in his career. You definitely got to give it some thought. I'm not there, but I wouldn't blame anyone for being there. I would blame someone, though, for being there 45-1 on Tommy Fleetwood over Brooks Koepka. Just bet Tommy T10. That's all you got to do. He had a classic Fleetwood Sunday last week. He shot like 63 and finished T4, and we'll probably fool everyone next year when we bet on the Truist. Be like, oh, Tommy finished T4 here last year. It's a classic Fleetwood method. Never Tommy.
Just don't do it.
Never Tommy at 45-1. Hideki 45, Cantlay 45. I think these were the real two that it came down to for me in this range. I did give Victor Hovland some thought because he's kind of like Ludwig in a sense where, even though the game hasn't been all that consistent, he has won this year and definitely has the skill set to go and pop on this course, right? I just haven't seen enough consistently out of Victor, and I kind of had the same feeling about Shane Lowry that you did. I feel like Shane's a great top 10 or top 20 bet, probably a good DFS play. I think he checked in at, he was number 6 in my model this week. So lots of reasons to like Shane. I just, A, don't think he's long enough, and B, I just can't trust him down the stretch on Sundays, man. I think there are some interesting major championship venues for him later on down the year, as Oakmont, when they were last there in 2016. Lowry had a 4-shot lead, I want to say, going into the final round and shot 6 over to lose to Dustin Johnson. And then the site of the Open Championship is where he won his major championship at Royal Portrush. So I think those are probably the 2 majors that I'm more inclined to look at Lowry this year in the outright market. But he is playing so well. Again, I wouldn't really blame anyone for going there. But I think Cantlay and Hideki were really the discussion for me. Ultimately, I ended up choosing Hideki just because I think.
Because you hate Cantlay?
Well, I don't even really hate Cantlay as much as some people do. He's won me some decent coin in his career, even though he hasn't won in 3 years. And I have basically stopped betting him during that 3-year stretch. So it's been pretty fine with me. I don't hate Pat as much as some other people do. I just think upside and in terms of winning a golf tournament, there really isn't a world where I should choose I should choose Patrick Cantlay over Hideki Matsuyama to actually win. Now, if we're talking who's more likely to finish in the top 10, who's more likely to make the cut or finish in the top 5, that's probably Patrick Cantlay. But we're betting to win this goddamn tournament. And I think Hideki's the one who has the best actual win equity, even though his season hasn't been all that consistent. He really hasn't made all that much noise. But he does still have a win, albeit at the Century to begin the season. But 6 top 25s in his last 10 starts. So that floor that he has is still remarkably high. And whenever we talk about Hideki on this podcast, Joey, we know you can never just point your finger on him. So maybe him not being all that great recently is actually for the better. I don't know. I still haven't successfully cashed a Hideki ticket, but I'm riding with him this week. He was tied for the lead here at Quail Hollow at the 2017 Major Championship, wound up finishing T5, gained 4.5 strokes putting here. And while his non-major results at Quail Hollow haven't been too kind, he does regularly gain strokes from tee to green. Out of his 5 non-major starts at Quail Hollow, 4 times he's gained at least 4 strokes. And he's coming in with some really good iron play. Gained 7.2 with his irons at the Masters en route to a T21, gained another 3.5 with his irons last week. And that third round that he had at the Philadelphia Cricket Club last week, Joey, did you catch any of that by chance?
Which one? I'm sorry.
Hideki's third round last week at the Philadelphia Cricket Club.
A little bit, yeah.
It was one of the best rounds of the year. He gained 7 strokes to the field. I think he shot 63, 8 under when the next best round of the day was 5 or 6 under. So maybe found a little bit there, although he did play pretty horrible in the final round. But again, just 45-1 odds for Hideki Matsuyama. I thought about Cantlay, but I think Hideki's just the more proven winner, and I should probably go with him at the same odds, in my opinion.
Dude, I have no read on Hideki, so I
will
trust your thoughts here on Hideki. I don't know. I never do.
That should just be on his tombstone, Hideki. I don't know. I can never put a finger on this guy. I have no idea what he's ever about. One thing I will say though, the putter has not been very good for him this year. I saw him grinding on, I want to say it was Monday, in the absolute pouring rain on the putting greens at Quail Hollow. He had someone who works with him holding an umbrella over him as it's literally torrentially downpouring alongside him. So he's grinding on the greens. Hideki upside 45-1 just seems fair enough to me. And there was just no one else outside of Patrick Cantlay in this range to me that's playing well enough, I think, to actually win a major championship.
Yeah, well, he obviously wants it, so go with somebody that's hungry. I like it. And yeah, he does have the upside for sure with Hideki. We know that.
Let's go from, there's not that many guys left under, let's just do that. Under 100, Joey, and then we'll go 100 and bombs, our favorite time of the show, and we just shout out names and go absolutely haywire. But before we get there, stay a little structured first. We got Sepp Straka at 70, my boy, Big Titty Sepp. Cashed another ticket for me last week. My other boy, Corey Connors at 71 as well. Pretty good resume at the PGA Championship as well as just majors in general. And then we got, oh, what a beautiful day. Fantastic resume at Quail Hollow. I already assume you have $10 or something on him. We got Hollywood Russell Henley pulling up to Charlotte despite all the rain in a nice fancy limo with doves and 4 superstar A-list models around his arm. He's 80-1, big pimpin'. And then we got Min Woo at 90 along with Patrick Reed at 90. So Sepp Connors, Day, Henley, Min Woo, Reed. Any enticement out of this range before we get into the bombs, my good buddy?
Yeah, you know what? I actually was looking at Connors quite a bit, but dude, he can't do it.
He played so well at the Masters until it was Sunday.
He can't do it. He just can't do it, and that's all it comes down to. Is
You want to know what the problem is?
Well, what's the problem?
It's not the Valero Texas Open.
It is exactly right, dude. That's exactly right. This is not the Valero Texas Open where he can win. The only place. So yeah, man, I just couldn't do it there. I do, and you know what? You're actually mistaken. I have nothing on What a Beautiful Day this week because I just don't like where his game's at.
He also might have like a herniated disc in his neck. There's like something going on with him. So Sketchfest.
Yeah, there's
not a beautiful day.
It's not a beautiful year. It's not a beautiful few years. It's not a beautiful day for Mr. Day. Not going there. I do like Patrick Reed at 90-1.
Let's go.
Are you on it?
I'm on it, baby.
Let's go. 90-1. I don't know where you got him, but I thought that was a good number.
I got him at 90 as well.
There we go, baby. Yeah, he's great record at Quail Hollow. You know, he's 5th in strokes gained at Quail Hollow, 15th in strokes gained on long courses, 20th on difficult courses. Very good on Bermuda. Does a great job avoiding bogeys. Plenty enough distance and good iron play. He won at Torrey Pines in 2021 too, and is a major winner. So
yes,
this is not the Valero Texas Open same category. I don't know how these guys have anywhere near the same odds when you factor these things in.
Take it easy.
I like Corey. I like Corey. I know it's your boy, but Patrick Reed, to me, man, that's a great number. I love it.
90-1, man, feels like a great number, and I think there's a lot of reasons to be intrigued about Patrick Reed this week. One, you already outlined the course history. Not only did he finish runner-up to JT here at the 2017 PGA Championship, but was 8th in 2018, T6 last time here in 2021, and he only has one worse result than 32nd in 8 career starts at Quail Hollow. Then there's the major championship fortitude and the prowess. Like Patrick Reed or not, he has won the Masters, he has won big-time tournaments, and he has major stones and won't back down in the moment. I know that for a fact. Also, the Ryder Cup. Patrick Reed is not going to make this Ryder Cup roster, even though he probably should be in the conversation. I mean, he finished 3rd at the Masters this year, and I know it's live, but he's playing some really good golf right now. But because of his reputation, because he is who he is in his past, the only way he's going to make this team is if he forces those mofos. And the only way to really do that is to prove himself in these major championships. And Patrick Reed might be a cheater, but he's not a moron. He's well aware of that. So I'm sure he's coming in with an even bigger chip on his shoulder, playing with Jordan Spieth in the opening round, someone who he's kind of had an interesting relationship throughout his career as well. So like a lot of motivating factors for Patrick Reed, in addition to him just like coming in, playing some really good golf. And what I like about Patrick Reed too, is of the guys who play over on Live, he makes a real concerted effort to get himself qualified into these types of tournaments. They're clearly still important to him. Like he went over and played on the Asian tour back in late March and finished runner-up in Macau. And that might have like changed his season, because ever since then, T7 at Live Miami, 3rd at the Masters, where, by the way, you never know how things might go, but Patrick Reed 3-putted from like 6 feet on 15, I want to say, in that final round on Sunday. Now, if he makes that birdie, maybe he doesn't jar it from the middle of a fairway on 17. Who knows how those things kind of go in the butterfly effect, right? But still, like 1 or 2 strokes away from being in that playoff along with Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose. T17 at Live Mexico City, T4 at Live Korea the last time out. And rates out pretty well in my model, Joey. He's 6th in bogey avoidance. The short game is always what Patrick Reed has been known for, but I do still think he's long enough to contend on this course, as evident by his results here. But he's 30th in driving distance in this field over the past 24 rounds, 26th in approach, 20th in putting on Bermuda, 16th tee to green, 15th in strokes gained long courses, which I think is a metric that would surprise some people out there, considering Patrick Reed is kind of known as a short game prowess. He can hang on these long golf courses. So Yeah, Patrick Reed 90-1 for many different reasons. One of the best value bets, I think, on the board this week in the outright market.
Hands down, man. Anytime you can pop up and get a third place finish at the Masters too, you could pop up and do it again here, even though you're not playing regularly on tours. So I take nothing. The fact that he is golfing so well coming into this, outside of it, I do think that that's a great thing for him, despite where he's at. Absolutely.
You know what's interesting about this range too, Joey? Just thinking about it now. So the range before that's got like Brooks, Hideki, Hovland, Hatton. Those are all like high ceiling, low floor guys who aren't necessarily coming in with the best form, but still have that winning pedigree where like you wouldn't be surprised if these guys won. This next range that we just went through, 70 to 100, these are all guys outside of Jason Day, honestly, because he's got that neck issue.
Yeah,
but
he's
these
got
guys,
a lower floor, but yeah.
All of these guys have the higher floors. They just don't quite have the ceilings. Like Sepp Straka, 2 wins already this year. I think he has 2 results worse than 30th and 14 total starts. Like finished T8 here the year prior. I don't think Sepp can win, but I think he's a great play considering how well he's been playing coming in here. Same with Corey Connors. I mean, pulling up Corey Connors' stat sheet, dude.
He's been unreal.
Whole lot of green, and the ball striking has been electric. We saw him contend at Bay Hill, which is a similar course to this one not all that long ago. Russell Henley won at Bay Hill, not the longest player. I don't think he can win, but wouldn't be surprised to like see him come T4. And then even Minwoo, like I don't think Minwoo has the iron consistency again to win a major right now, but driving distance, around the green play, putting upside, like all of these guys I really think could be like sneaky top 20 or top 30 plays for anyone, or like really good DFS plays. I like really like this range a lot.
It's a great range, man. I had to be a little bit picky and choosy with it. There was one standout to me, and that was Patrick Reed, who we're both on. But then outside of that, like Corey Connors and those guys, like the way that they're just golfing so well right now, and like the only thing that kept me off Sepp was the distance.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the only thing here for this tournament. If he had a little bit more distance, I think he legitimately has a shot, because he's in that tier now for me of like, yeah, he can win almost any tournament. So I really do. You're absolutely spot on. Like this range is a little bit more appealing to me than the other one, even though that is the upside range for sure.
Yeah, completely agree. Kind of wonky how that just kind of works its way out this year. But that takes us to up over 100. Honestly, Joey, let's start with 100 to 200 because it is just a top heavy odds board this year. I think there's only like 18 guys total under 100 to 1 this week. So let's start with the 100 to 200 bombs first before we go to the complete haywire section. Who interests you between 100 and 200 to 1 right now?
Well, it wouldn't be a major show, and well, really a show at all if I didn't mention the Windy City Flyer.
True,
because he's got the upside for sure. I think let's save him for a different portion of the show. I'm not going to bet him outright this time, but I do like Wyndham Clark as at least the potential to do something here. The other guys here, at least in this 100 to 1 and up range. The distance guy, of course, Keith Mitchell. He's another name, kind of like Wyndham Clark, except he's not a finisher and he's not a winner. So
they're kind of similar in that. They're kind of similar in that fashion, at least right now. Obviously, Wyndham's the more established player, but Wyndham, as of late, both of those guys are like FRL and leave them alone in other markets, basically.
That's basically it. Yeah, it's FRL and fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm scared what's going to happen the rest of the way.
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't getting the read on Justin Rose this week, so I'm not really intrigued by Rose here as much.
Tells me all I need to know about him.
There you go. He's gone.
You're the Justin Rose guy around here.
Get him out of here. I do like Daniel Berger this week, and I know you said earlier off the rip that this is not where you can see him actually winning, but having a good tournament. I think even though, and 100 to 1 is a great number, even though he doesn't quite have the distance we want, he's fifth in proximity from 200 to 225 yards, which to me means even if he's a little bit shorter off the tee, he can make up for it with the long irons on a course like this. Eighth in strokes gained approach over the last 12 rounds, fourth in total driving. I got to take a shot at 100-1. I just do.
I completely understand it, man. Like DB, my boy, straight vibing. I wouldn't be here without Daniel Berger winning that ticket for me way back in the day. One of my favorite Instagram follows as well. He always posts highlights to swaggy music. He's just a big vibes guy. He gets it. He gets it. He's rolling, dog. Rolling. He doesn't have a finish worse than 30th since January. He's just cooking.
He's knocking. He's knocking. He's back.
You've seen
he's knocking on the door, dude. He's not. I don't know if it's this week. But
were you a Harry Potter guy growing up? You watch all the movies?
I watched every movie, but I can't say I remember every single movie. But yes, I was a Harry Potter guy.
You know the Minister of Magic? He's back.
He's back.
Yes. That's DB. DB is back, dude. He's back.
That's it. Minister of Magic.
And what I will say is, like, off of the tee, he's been steady. And I mean, Arnold Palmer Invitational, long golf course, gained 2.8 strokes off of the tee there. Masters gained 1.4 strokes off the tee. And the rest of his game is good enough. Like, no doubt about it. 100-1 is a good number on Daniel Berger.
Yeah. So just do it. Fuck it. What do you have to lose? I don't know if you can get there this week, Jack, but I will feel bad if I'm the only one on him. But I will feel worse if I'm the only one on this guy. Keegan Bradley, 125-1. He finished T33 in 2017 at Quail Hollow and is a past PGA Championship champion way back 2011. He's 10th in my model this week, 13th in strokes gained tee to green over the last 24 rounds. He's 10th in strokes gained par fours from 450 to 500 yards. Been really good from that 175 to 225 yard bucket area on approaches. 13th in total driving, decent showings too this year at Torrey Pines earlier this year. So yeah, I think Keegan 125-1. That's also a pretty good number for a guy that's pretty damn well rounded, I think.
Yeah, I wish he could freaking putt right now, man. You were on him last week, weren't you?
I think I was last week. Yeah, I was on Keegan. I'm pretty sure.
His game's fine. He just can't make a putt. 120 is a good number for his actual upside. Actual winning chances, I like it. I don't think I'm sadly going to be joining you on him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like actual winning odds, they're better than I think what his number is. But like, do I really think he's going to win? No, I'm just taking a shot. He can though. He absolutely can. Was I on him last week? That's a good question.
I think you were. I want to say you were, because I think I remember us having the he can't putt worth a dick discussion last week too.
No, I was on him. I was on him, Lowry, Connors, like those guys that we like this week.
I'm gonna make a declaration on Shane Lowry. I'm ready to make it.
What's that?
If he doesn't win this season, with Oakmont being a great U.S. Open spot for him, I know the modern game, with him not being the longest driver in the world, it might not favor him as much as it did back in 2016. But with that major spot being a good redemption spot for him, with Royal Portrush being his home, where he won his Open Championship in Ireland, if he doesn't win this year, I think he might be in Tommy territory, and I'm just never going to bet him ever again. Like, legit, if it doesn't happen this year, and I hate making those declarations because more times than not, they usually come up biting me in the butt, and then those guys win, and I don't have money on them, and I hate myself even more. But if it's not this year for Shane Lowry, with how well he's played, not only this season, but the last couple of years, I don't know if it's ever coming.
That's fair, man. That's totally fair, because there's been more than enough opportunities for him to finally bust through. And I don't know. I don't know what his problem is. Like, it's the Sunday scaries. It's watching him putt on Sundays. Watching him do almost anything half the time on Sundays is like, I want to rip my teeth out. Dude, he's like so talented.
It's like watching Keith on Sunday, dude. Keith this weekend missed so many 5-footers. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I just knew when he was in the lead that this is just not going to last. It's every time.
Like clockwork. Like clockwork, bro.
Yeah. So
anyone else in this 100 to 200 pocket, though, that's catching your eye or that you wanted to bring up?
let me take another look here. Didn't Beniana do pretty decent at this course last time?
He did. I bet him here last year, and he finished T3. Unfortunately, Rory just waxed everyone on that Sunday, so Benny was never really in the mix. But I did bet him here last year, and he finished T3. He's got the game for it.
Yeah, I also there's some signs of life from Max Homa now.
There is.
I think it wouldn't shock me if he had a good tournament. Do I see him winning? No, that's the thing. So same with Willie Z. I mean, like, he could have a good tournament, and I don't see him winning. Denny McCarthy has a pretty good track record here, surprisingly, because
that he do.
Do you ever think of Denny McCarthy in a Bombers course? But he just randomly comes up every now and then. He's basically a Brian Harmon lookalike. He's just a weasel.
You know what's interesting about Denny? You want to know where the last place he popped up at was?
Was it Torrey Pines?
It was Torrey Pines.
Ah, man, I don't know.
He played like shit on that Sunday, and Ludwig chased him down, and he won.
I mean, he's not winning. Top 10?
No. I think Denny is. Spoiler: I'm gonna bet him FRL.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. That's pretty much it for me, man. Before that 200 number, and honestly, everything else after that is just. There's some names that I like in other tournaments. Yeah, go ahead.
Bet from down there. But for this 100 to 200 range, just some guys I want to shout real briefly. You touched on Keegan. I think that's a fair value number. I think Berger's a really good number at 100. I don't think Wyndham has the game to go play 4 consecutive days of good golf, but 110 to 1 on a course that he won on 2 years ago, like, crazier things have happened. So that's probably where my eyes would go. I mentioned Denny FRL will be somewhere I'm interested. Andrew Novak, 190 to 1.
Oh boy.
I don't think Andrew Novak's going to win a major championship, but he definitely deserves more respect than 190 to 1. This guy over his last 4 starts is T3, second, first, and T17. I know that win was with Ben Griffin at the Zurich Classic, but he's playing really good golf. He finished T13 at the Genesis Invitational earlier this season at Torrey Pines, was 3rd at the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, and I was at Bay Hill this year, and he was right there. Like, going into the final round, I think Novak was 2 or 3 shots off of the lead. So, like, on these longer golf courses, he has the well-rounded game to go and hang around. So, like, Andrew Novak is a top 20 or top 30, I think would be a really solid bet. Comes in with good confidence, great incoming form. Definitely someone I wanted to shout out from way down here on the odds boards. But no official bets for me in that range in the outright market. Now we get to the shouting names to shout out names portion of the show. I do have one bet in this range, though, Joey, and it's my boy. I can't shake him. Harris English. They're gonna keep giving me 200s, 100s on Harris English, who won at Torrey Pines earlier this season. I'm gonna take him because I just think Harris English is too good of a golfer and has better upside than they're giving him credit for here in this column. T12 at the Masters a couple of weeks ago, T11 at the Truist, T3 at Quail Hollow for the Wells Fargo back in 2023. Doesn't have the best PGA Championship history. However, he's been sneaky good at the U.S. Open, which I know is usually more difficult than the PGA Championship, but is still the same-ish style of golf course. 3rd at Torrey Pines in 2021, 4th at Wingfoot in 2020, T8 at Los Angeles Country Club in 2023. Like, he's just shown that he can contend against the best fields in professional golf. Played for the United States in the Ryder Cup. 4 top 20s and 8 outings since he had his win at the Farmers Insurance Open earlier this year. 18th in strokes gained putting. Ton of putting upside, actually, with Harris English. He's gained at least 2.7 strokes on the greens in each of his last 5 starts at Quail Hollow. So something he really likes about these greens. Clearly, with the U.S. Open results, we know those greens are always firm and fast. Has putted well in his career at Augusta, which are firm and fast greens. So I think there is some comfort level for Harris English here in 220 to 1 when he's surrounded by Tom Kim, who barely made the cut at Myrtle Beach last weekend, Ricky Fowler,
David Puig.
It's good value for Harris English down here. You can't convince me otherwise.
No, I don't understand why he's priced that. And I honestly
He won this year.
I just missed that he was even this price. I can't bet everybody. I'm not going to bet him, but I think that's a great look, despite you just betting him every week. But you've had good you've had a good read on English, it feels like. So yeah, he's this is not the range for him. He should not be in here.
Yeah, I agree. But is there anyone down here that maybe not in the outright market, but just anyone at all that's catching your eye? I got like 2 names to shout.
I mean, I feel like Ricky Fowler is also like, this wouldn't be terrible for him. I could see him being like a top 40 or top 30 kind of bet, maybe look in that range. Maybe even top 20. I don't know. Guys to make the cut too. Like, I feel like Novak is probably a good bet. Him and English to make the cut. I don't know. I kind of want to see what those odds would be if you could find stuff like that.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Because that's not a bad way to kind of attack things. I think that's, I don't know, just thinking here. But who else do we have in this range?
It's getting a little grimy.
I want to say
Tommy
Woodland.
Dietz?
Oh,
like
Tommy. Yeah.
Call.
No, Tommy. I mean, I love Thomas Dietrich, you know that, but I'm not going to go crazy this week. I do think Woodland, though, actually makes a ton of sense here because he has a pretty good track record at Quail Hollow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Without looking at it right now. But, and, he's somebody who can crank it too. So, yeah, Woodland would not shock me at all to see him popping up this week. Don't think he's going to win, but I do like him. That's about it, man. I don't know. There's really no other reason for me to go crazy here. I mean, Adam Scott is someone.
Is he? That he is.
No, he's someone. He's a name. So yeah, that's how
it gets grimy. It gets grimy down here. By the way, the Andrew Novak Harris English parlay is plus 167. Pretty good number, quite honestly.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
Honestly, I think I actually don't know about his history on this golf course, but I think Brian Harmon at 220 to 1. Like, just to even make the cut, maybe add it in there. I don't know. Oh, he is a weasel.
He should make the cut just about anywhere, I feel like, for Harmon.
He won this year. Yeah. Down here, some names to call out. You're going to hate this one. This is a good Cameron Young course. I'm not going to bet him to win. I don't think anyone should bet him to win. But a top 20 is definitely possible. And he finished T7 last week and finally gained strokes with his irons for the first time this year. Putter's starting to come back around. It is a good Cameron Young golf course. I agree with you. Gary Woodland is a good shout. I looked at his profile, and I wish his game's pretty bad right now, quite honestly, except for like his driving distance and with his irons. 271, though, is an interesting number with his history here. And then Kevin Yu, 300 to 1. Just with the way he mashes the golf ball and hits long irons. I don't think he putts well enough to actually hang around for a minute, but his skill set works pretty well on this golf course. Wanted to bring up one last guy. What about your boy, EV?
I was going to say his name. Thank you. No, I like him this week. I do. I think he's got a good chance to make some noise.
Make the cut, EVR.
Yeah, just make the cut. Actually, you could parlay that with Novak in English. I think that's going to happen. I think EVR definitely is making the cut. What's he done lately, though? Like, what's his actual? Let me look.
He just pops up out of nowhere. He's the most random dude ever.
Yeah, he's pretty. I mean, then making the cut also. Well, I don't know, man.
So random.
When's the last time he's been in a major?
Let me look. He played the U.S. Open last year. Come on.
Did he?
Yeah, he missed the cut.
He was in the U.S. Open last year?
Dude, This is actually crazy. We talked about this last week. And it's still blowing my mind right now that my boy EVR finished T8 at the PGA Championship at Bethpage Black in 2019. That's actually like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like a legit big boy golf course, and like a young unknown Eric Van Rooyen finished T8 there in 2019. Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't. It does seem like though certain court like the big boy courses, he can step it up a little bit, like the long courses.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that was shocking when you said that, but
I like the. I gotta give my boy EVR a little bit of a shout there.
yeah, just bust him up, boost, give him a little boost here.
I think that's all we need to talk about though in the outright market, Joey. But before we wrap things up, I think we should talk through. You got any props, FRL matchups? What are we looking at here?
Would like to look at matchups, but I don't think I don't have anything yet. So it would kind of maybe it'd be a waste of time. I don't know. We could kind of talk through a couple of them.
If you don't got anything right off the rip, but I do want to talk first round leader for a moment.
For sure. Yeah, I got a couple of those. Who you got?
So got to give a shout out to my boy, Stevie Spreadsheets. Makes an excellent spreadsheet every single week while at work. So he's working very hard. But he's been excellent in the first round leader market this year. So I definitely got to give a shout out to him and got to get some of his picks in play this week. He was on Justin Rose first round leader at the Masters Augusta National. What a time that was. Gary Woodland was one of his first round leader shouts. So I think that's one that you'd like. I mentioned earlier, Denny McCarthy is someone that stood out to me. He's someone I'm going to be betting first round leader. I think I'm going to get in on Wyndham as well. You kind of talked me into that. And remembering you cashing that FRL on him at TPC Scottsdale earlier this season, he hung around the first round leader at Bay Hill. That one round upside is there. So I think Wyndham's going to be part of that group as well. But we also got Keith Mitchell. I mean, come on. We got to bet Keith first round leader.
I'm so pissed, dude. Still, just thinking about it. I was so close to betting him first round leader last week and decided against it. I'm still kicking myself. I'm not going to lie, because that would have been maybe my third or fourth first round leader of the year, with between Wyndham and him and Justin Rose too, sharing one with Stevie Spreadsheets.
Shout out my boy.
Yeah. No, man. I could I see him doing it again? Yeah, because that's when he shows up.
It's only when he can show up. There's no pressure on him in Thursday morning.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You've been on a heater first round leader this season as well, man. That's been treating you solid.
First year ever, basically. I think I maybe hit one or two of my entire life first round leader before this year. Usually when I bet them, I have pretty decent luck though, I think, because I don't bet them most
Cam
of the
Young
time.
at the Open.
Cam Young, yeah, and I know you were mad at me about that because I should have mentioned it.
And I was even more mad because
Cam Smith. Yeah, Cam Smith.
No, you had the Cam Smith outright. See,
that's what it was. It was Cam Young and Cam Smith, right?
Now I'm getting back into times I don't want to think about. When you bet Cam Young first round leader and didn't tell me, he cashes. And then you have Cameron Smith while I have Rory, and Rory gags away the major on Sunday, and you walk away. I mean, I guess I got my revenge at the Masters this year because I cashed the Rose first round ticket and got Rory winning while you had Justin Rose winning runner up. So I guess things all come full circle.
They've come full circle, and I'm living in the past now. That's what it comes down to. I'm that guy, like looking back on like his high school days of like, oh, my glory days of 2 years ago, a year ago. Like, we got to get me back into the glory days here.
We do.
I want to live in the present, Jack. I don't want to look back on that and be like, oh, that was my peak, and there's nothing ever better again. Like,
so who you liking for first round leader? You've been solid on first round leader this year. Let's get you back into that. Let's get you back into a new peak here, Joey.
I do really like the calls that you had. I am gonna bet Mitchell this week, because even though I was upset about last week, I think it's definitely that would be his bread and butter. And Wyndham Clark too. And one of the things that like sticks out to me with those two, like, it's not just that's when they do well. Like, they're towards the top in the PGA Tour ranks in round one scoring too. So I mean, it literally is the time they do pretty well between Wyndham and Keith Mitchell. So I like those two. You had another shout there that I might tail you on. Who was it? Oh, Woodland. Just to get a little piece. I I think this could be a great tournament for him. I don't want to go crazy in the first round leader market, but I think getting 3, possibly 4, those 3 would be it, I think. And then somebody else who's kind of down here who has a little bit of potential that I don't think is going to win the tournament. Who was he? Let me find his name because it's not coming to my head. I think Ricky Fowler could pop in the first round too.
I actually like that.
Ricky Fowler at what's his first round leader market at? I don't know what the odds are.
I don't know. I don't have it up right in front of me, but Ricky, I think, was 6 under through 10 last week. Yeah, I like that. I could see Ricky being a first round leader here. Yeah, I actually like that.
I might that might be the core 4 that I stick with. And if y'all want to shout out a name, Beniana could be a good first round guy too. If you're looking that route as like somebody who can really bomb it too. So
absolutely love it. Okay. All right. So my 6, I'm going to go with 6. I'll just sprinkle a couple bucks on these. I'm not going to go crazy on FRLs. Or will I? No, I'm just kidding. And or will I? I'm going to go with Cashmere Keith because if he cashes, then I'm going to feel like Squidward watching Patrick and SpongeBob run around having fun outside. I definitely got to be part of that. Keith and Windy officially locked in. I'm going to bet Denny McBuckets. He randomly pops up at these types of courses and has a good history here. I'm going to bet Woodland. He's 110-1 is Gary Woodland. I know that for a fact. I'm going to bet Ricky. I do like that call. And I have a boring one for you, but I'm going to take it 22-1. It's Bryson DeChambeau.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's just double down and get both. If you combo it, you're having a hell of a tournament.
He's been first round god lately. He was first round leader at the Masters in 2024, first round leader at Oak Hill at the PGA Championship in 2023, was right there in the first round at this year's Masters. Justin Rose, fortunately for my bank account, just got the better of him a little bit there, but Bryson has been incredible in the opening stretch. I mentioned when talking about him when we were going through that section of the odds board that the only real problem with him has been those final rounds, kind of those last day scaries. But the opening round, he's been putting himself in position right out of the gate, like every single tournament this year on Live. So I'm going to go with Bryson 22-1, even though it's a little bit boring. And those will probably be my 6 first round leader bets.
I like it, man. Yeah. Let's, what if we get Woodland first round leader? We team up on that. Got a
Patty
squad
Reed.
ride, golf on tap. Yeah. I mean, and then we do that with Patty Reed. Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm all aboard the villain. We'll start with the nice guy comeback story, Gary Woodland. After having brain surgery last year, everyone will be like super happy to begin the PGA Championship. We'll obviously be even happier because we had money on him too. And then Patrick Reed, the villain, just comes and throws the daggers into everyone else's fun, but not ours. Not ours this weekend, Mr. Joey Ricotta.
90-1. That's gonna make me real happy if we hit that.
I would love that, my friend. I'd love to get a squad ride for the second major championship of the season. Anything else that we left out somehow in this 115 hour 15 minutes that we've already been talking, Joey? Don't want to leave you hanging.
Honestly, there's not much else to say.
Yeah, true.
I'm trying to look at the matchups real quick here, and there's a couple that kind of stand out to me as I'm just quickly scrolling here. And
give him a shout. Give him a shout real quick.
I'll give you a quick little shout here. I do like, excuse me, where are we at? Because I just lost it. Luddy over Colin Morikawa this week.
Agreed.
Which I think it's just going to come down to the distance with Morikawa, even though I think his approach can make up for it. But I do think Luddy over him at plus money is not a bad bet at all. Cam Smith and Brooks Koepka. I think Brooks, I don't know. That's a close one, but I would say Brooks. I know you're not really a Cam Smith guy. And I don't think this is a course for Cam Smith. So that's why I think that's a good matchup bet. And then Lowry over Hatton as well, even though Hatton, it's a tough pill to swallow because I think Hatton actually it fits him better. I think he has more of a chance when it comes to the distance, obviously. But I think Lowry's just in such a good state right now that he's going to make up for it and probably finish top 20 and just not have enough to win it. Whereas I don't know if Hatton's going to have that high of a floor this week. So those would probably be the 3 matchups that I do like. Not sure if I'm going to bet all 3 of them, but I do like those.
All right. I think that's going to close out this final bets edition of Golf on Tap ahead of tomorrow's PGA Championship. Reminder, they're out on the East Coast. They'll be starting bright and early. I think the opening tee shot happens at 6 o'clock Central Time. So be ready for that. I know it's going to be broadcasted on ESPN for anyone who was upset with the television coverage of the Masters not coming on until like 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday and Friday. Won't be the case this week for the PGA Championship, as it's on ESPN starting at 11 a.m. Central Time. ESPN Plus will have the early morning coverage going as well. Best of luck, everyone, this week at Quail Hollow. Joey, let's go and cash your ticket, my friend. Let's get that squad ride together. Patty Reed, let's make it happen, baby.
Let's get it. No better time than now, baby. Second major of the year. I'm pumped up. You doing the Mickey D's breakfast run or what?
No, that's Masters only. I gotta keep special traditions special, because if I do it for every major, it's gonna lose its luster. Masters, Mickey D's.
The vibes though. The vibes are all right. Let's not do Mickey D's. Let's do like I don't know, something weird. Let's do like Taco Bell breakfast. I've never gotten that maybe in my life.
I'll eat something good for you, and I'll post it on social media. I actually, since I am traveling tomorrow night, I guess I didn't technically have to take work off, but it's a travel day. So I'm not working tomorrow. I'm going to be enjoying myself watching golf all day long. So I'll definitely have the time to squeeze in some terrible food for myself, but it'll be very appetizing, I'm sure. Stay tuned.
There you go. Just doesn't matter what it is. It's gotta be unhealthy.
I'll make it happen, I promise. But thank you again to everyone for tuning into this episode of Golf on Tap. Reminder, check out ontapsportsnet.com for all the greatest coverage on the PGA Championship. Go and subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet as well over on YouTube. That's the best way that you can support the channel. Until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your night. Crack 'em, lock 'em,
and fuck 'em.
We'll see you next time.